Hello everyone, I'm here with Teresa Watson. For me, this video is about opening new doorways, about climate change, about how can you think, all these people are thinking about it's the end of the world, we're facing total destruction, and people have all sorts of emotions about that, and that's the field of work that I come from, so I'm going to talk to you about this. And Teresa is studying that, and she can share maybe some things of her own. And of course, it's not that we speak for each other or agree on anything the other person say. If you want to learn more about each one of us, you can. We're gonna add our details down below. But just for now, let's start.
I'm Teresa Watson. I'm here in Oslo, Norway, studying with a group of students and professors addressing climate changes, the political implications, the practical implications. But we're here in Oslo because Norway is one of the leaders in climate change mitigation, despite the fact that they're also producing a lot of oil through offshore oil rigs, fossil fuels, extracting all of that. And so we're just taking a look at what this small socially democratic country is doing. And it looks like from the tours we've had this past week that they are really developing a way for humanity to change not only its carbon footprint, but change lifestyles in subtle ways that make a difference. For instance, one of the homework assignments I'm working on this week, the whole class is learning about Norway's push to build not just energy efficient buildings, but energy producing buildings. And if we could all globally get into the habit as nations to make these kind of efforts, I think that there is hope for humanity. I'm 65 years old. I've seen dramatic changes in climates in places where I've lived. Rising temperatures, more rain in places that rarely had it. This past week we had a flood in Death Valley, California, where I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, 6 years worth of rain fell in a few hours. It's the face of climate is changing, but we don't need to give up. We can't give up, and as humans we don't do that. That's not in our nature. So I'm studying climate change for several reasons, because I believe it's real. I believe man, since the invention of the steam engine, and the Industrial Revolution, has significantly impacted the Anthropocene, the globe, and that is the Anthropocene effect.
And I want to just show around, and thank you for that clarity about kind of starting to draw a map around what's going on. We're walking here in like suburbia Norway. Really, if you can take a look around, and there's like soccer fields, and there's this the cars, and it's really the middle class suburban, probably like because it's Norway and Oslo, it's probably like very expensive houses here, but that's maybe it's not middle class, maybe it's more, but that's a lot of the people that are living in the world right now. They're living in this what I call modern culture lifestyle, where in this lifestyle there is a lot of consumption, right? We consume we call it ecological footprint. It means that in average a person that, for example, lives here probably needs 6 or 12 times the earth. Like the ecological footprint, it means how much of the earth they consume, like how much resources, water, energy and stuff like that, how much earth does it need to take care of all of what it consumed. And so an average person in Western society takes about 6 to 12 times than what we have in our planet. So we need like 6 or 12 or more times the planets that we have to sustain all of that. So you can imagine like oil and like plastic and everything we consume around here. By consuming so much, we're destroying the planet in the fastest rate possible. So we consume, this goes to corporations that make money from our consumption, and basically this corporation destroy the world. They cut the rainforest down, they destroy 128 species a day, and we're taking a part of this game world that we're living in, that's called modern culture. By just like living and consuming, we're taking a part of the corporation destroying the world in that rate. So to solve this problem, there's several approaches. There's the light green approach, where it's like, let's recycle. That's very light green, like even a greenwash, like just if we recycle plastic, it's gonna solve the problem. And there's the light green approach, where it's more about what Teresa is talking about, to keep these lifestyles that we're living in and just find solution to create sustainable energy, for example. And some people think that it's not enough, like, because we still keep consuming and it's not gonna really solve the problems because we just live in an irresponsible way. So
yes.
So what's needed is to have a like hardcore green approach, which is going and rewilding, like live from nature, and use much less than what we use, and really change our whole lifestyle that we live in. What do you think about that, Teresa?
I think what is necessary now, because we've let it go on for too many decades since we knew we were plummeting to the edge of the cliff, I think we're all going to have to drastically change our lifestyles. There is not the will amongst the top 10% of the country, of the world, the top 10 economic levels of the world, to do this, because we're comfortable. We like our hot showers, and we like to have 2 cars in the family, and we like all of this stuff. Right now, I walk everywhere, or I take the bus, or I take the train. I live in New York because we've got good public transportation. So the countries in the world, whether they're city-states, small countries like Israel or Norway, or even the massive countries like the United States and India and China, we've got to provide better mass transit. China's actually done that pretty well. Got to cut our fossil fuel consumption significantly, and as Norway is doing, build not just energy efficient buildings, but energy producing buildings. And there are 3 or 4 here in Norway right now that produce more than twice the energy they use, and they're keeping cool, they're keeping warm, they're providing light, and even if we can't do it in private construction, although I foresee a future where we will do that, right now, if the companies that are doing the energy producing construction of buildings and refitting of older buildings into energy production, we could turn this around in just a couple of decades. That's my hope. That's my prayer. And this is a spiritual journey for me. I believe in God. I believe that this earth was created, billions of years ago. And man is part of that creation, and we are destroying this creation, and it hurts. It hurts me spiritually to think that we're doing this and we're not taking spiritual responsibility for caring for the environment.
Oh, thank you, Teresa, for sharing and really bringing this to the emotional level of what are we actually doing. So how are we solving this? And it's whether you have this approach of what we need, like is going fully dark green and changing everything, or you have this light green approach and you want to change the way we do things in modern culture and not to switch to next culture. for me, the distinction here is to keep creating these bridges and keep doing things at the same time. Like at the same time, do the light green solution, and at the same time realize that the way we live in, for example, where we are is not going to work. Like that's what's destroying the planet. So if you don't realize that yet, just like wake up to that.
Yeah.
and keep like pushing both of the things at the same time. That's the distinction for me here. It's not about fighting like between the light green or the dark green. It's about keep pushing in every way we can, because I think every one of us is different, and every one of us can push different things forward that are more resonate with what they do, with their what they came here to do in life, into the world. So some people are more scientific and they can help in that, like solve scientific problem, like how do we recycle all this plastic that we left behind, or how do we solve the the corals disappearing and the oceans, and some people can help people to bridge between living in suburbia to live in, for example, in to go to live in a farm or for a few years. I mean, a lot of people that they have this modern problem like depression and stuff like that, they can really benefit from changing their lifestyle. It's not that their lifestyle is working right now. So there's no right or wrong. I'm not talking about right or wrong. It's not about that. It's just about like, what can we do right now?
Personal choices, personal responsibility. And even like a man I interviewed the other day who is a Norwegian, he and his family are Norwegian citizens now, but they immigrated from Eritrea. And he has 6 kids, teenager to toddler. And he said he's proud about his country and what Norway is doing to mitigate climate change, but he also is exhausted because he works, he has the kids, he's raising a family, and so he just sort of, for this time period in his life, he has to relegate it to a back seat and hope that the government continues to do what is necessary. There's so many people who cannot afford time and money to make large steps, but they can vote for the issues and the politicians who will push forward, continue to push forward climate change mitigation policies. And so he can do that now, and then when his kids are grown up, he can take a more active role. Like I said in the beginning, I'm 65 and I've never really actively pursued all this, but I am now. So everybody needs to take personal responsibility, as Dor has said, and move forward in the times that they're given and with the resources they're given to make a difference. Thanks.
Thank you. Last thing that Teresa said here, and if you want to hear more about what she have to say, she interviewed some people around, and she interviewed me also, so you can I'm going to add a link to her things here so you can watch more of that. But just to connect to what she said, is like there is this box way of thinking, this very structured way of thinking where everyone needs to do what you think it's right to do. And a lot of people, they're doing like hardcore deep green activities. They think these people that are just voting, they're not doing enough. And what's coming up for me is that to expect people to have to bridge, like to go so far, to do a quantum leap between the level of responsibilities that they have now to so we talk about responsibility, there's levels to responsibility. So there's radical responsibility, and there's no responsibility, there's low level responsibility, medium, high, and radical level responsibility. Maybe I'll do a different video just about that. But to expect people to do this quantum leap from like just I'm voting, that's enough, or I'm just putting my plastics in the trash and that's enough, in the recycle bin, to expect them to jump so far, for me it's not realistic. So the question here is not right or wrong, it's like, what are you doing? How are you helping to bridge the level of responsibilities for people. So maybe you're a scientist, and what are you doing? You're working on a solution. Great, that's taking radical responsibility for yourself. And maybe you're someone that, that good about connecting and talking about people. So how are you creating this change? How are you taking a stand for this change? Maybe you're helping people to bridge to different way of living. I was just in a farm here in Norway, an hour north from Oslo, and they have this thing about rewilding. So you come there and you see that, like, oh, I don't need all this stuff, and I can grow my own food, and I can do all these things. So there is, like, maybe you're someone that taking a stand for showing people different possibilities, that they can do something different. So this is what this video is really about what doorways can you use to, instead of going and thinking, oh, it's the end of the world, we're all screwed, climate change, we're going to hell. Like, this is really shifting and going into what can you do about it, and what can you do. We say it when we do rage clubs. Rage club is workshops where you can transform and learn to use your emotions to take a stand for what you care about. So there we tell people, like, what do you actually care about? That's what you're here for to do. And if that's what you're here for to do, it's like, if it's about climate change, like, how are you actually doing that? Like, conscious emotions, using your conscious feelings and not just being triggered by them, reactive. They can help you to take a stand. Like, maybe I don't have enough motivation to do anything about climate change. So you can do a transformation workshop like that, and it can help you use your conscious anger to get the motivation and the commitment and the decision to do something like that, to take a stand for the world. Because if you're right now watching this and you're in no responsibility mode, well, you're probably not even watching that. But if you're in low responsibility mode and you think, I don't have a path to go there, so there is a path. That's what I'm taking a stand for, and I'm doing all these videos. And there's also others. That was what was important for me to bring Teresa here, because there's other ways to think about it, so you can find your own thing and step it up, because that's what we need right now. So a lot of people think that there's two options. It's either to freak out about it, to be negative, to be this annoying person that tells people all the time to recycle, or to just ignore that. That's the two options. It's either to be the person that is worried about it and anxious, or to be the person that is just like ignoring and doesn't give a fuck. And the purpose of this video is that no, there is something different that you can do, because this whole thing is really not only intellectual. It's not about is climate change only real or not. It's not what's the correct steps to take to solve the climate change. It's not like that. Another doorway to open is the journey of your life. A lot of times in your life you thought, this is the end of the world. I don't know, for me to go into the first grade, it was like, I don't have any idea what is going on there. It's a new world. I felt major anxiety to go into the first grade. And like, that was many things, like, in my life that I, like, before joining the army, or before going to university, like, so many things in my life, or things that happened to me that I thought, this is the end for me. Like, that's it, even like traumatic situation in my life that I thought, this is the end, like, the end is coming. And life kind of took me on. That's when I look back at it, when I take radical responsibility about the path that I chose in life, I realized that I chose this path because in those moments where I thought this is the end or something like that, I could transform something. Like, there was so much pain, or it looked so bad that I needed to transform something in order to keep going, to keep living. And I think that's how life works. Like, life is, it's not that I think intellectually, it's not a theory, it's just like when I look back at my life, I had so many moments where everything seems like the end, but then I transform, and of course I realized it was not the end. I kept going, and then actually it was like, oh, actually that's great. Where I went now, the new place is great. So I still needed to transform, like I'm not skipping the part where I needed to realize, okay, there is something need to change, and that was hard, and that was painful, but you know, after I transform, I saw it's not the end, and that's just how life works. So another doorway to look at all of this is like, where we are right now, we're facing this almost like something like a scene that looks like the end. For all of us, this time it's not you personally going to first grade, it's not your platoon in the army going to die, it's not, I don't know how to make it, it's not like maybe you had a crisis in your family and you thought it's the end. Like, it's not your family, it's the whole world right now. And we have this scene together, and now it's this place where we either go through the pain, shift something, transform, and get out of the other side, or not. But until now, I think everyone that is here, especially people that are watching this, chose to not dissolve, not to go away, not to finish this adventure for this time. So we all chose to keep going. So this is, if you realize that you're consciously choosing that, and you have the support of the whole world is supporting you. Like, even what I learned in rewilding, it's that Gaia has so much power. Nature has so much power to help us do that, to transform. You just stick your hand in the ground, or just put your feet in the ground, and you've already shift your state. You're already energetically shifting and getting to a great state. So Gaia, the world, is here to support us. We people, not everyone, of course, but a lot of people are here now to support you. And when you go, for example, to a gathering, I went in Denmark to an eco village gathering, it's not only that I got into the movement of doing something about the climate change, it's also that I met a lot of people, and it was fun, and it was developing for me. So you have the support of people, you have the support of the thoughtware, how to think about this stuff, coming from possibility management, and I talk about stuff that I learned from there. So you have the thoughtware, you have the emotional support if you want to join a rage club or a team or something like that. You have Gaia support, nature support, you have the village, the people support. You can find so many people that can help you rethink about stuff and transform. So you have everyone support to just say, okay, this is the moment where I either transform or it go to shit. It doesn't mean that I need to be this negative, anxious person about it, because here I can get emotional healing processes to support me. And if you know what it is, you can check down the video below about that. So I can get emotional healing process, I can get support, and I also don't need to ignore it and just be like, that's too crazy for me to think about. You can find the bridges here in the place where you can transform and do something about it, because it's actually fun. That's the adventure. If in your adventure you didn't have anything that is challenging, anything that is like, oh, we almost about to end, it would be a boring adventure, probably, or probably an adventure that you wouldn't choose for yourself. So thank you for being on your adventure. Welcome to what's going on. There's a climate change, it's real, and the world, we cannot keep consuming the way we are. We need to shift the way we live. We need to take care of Gaia. We need to take radical responsibility and do a lot of healing for ourselves and for the world. That's what we're here to do. That's what basically all the true paths say, like Hasidim, Sufism, it's not ism, Sufi, and you see yogis that are radically responsible are going in this direction, like Sadhguru with the movement Save Soil. So everyone is going this direction. That's what we were basically prepared to do. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, and let's connect and do it together. See you next time. Bye.